Hello, this is FrostyFire10 and I'm doing a review for your, you know, information, enlightenment, encouragement. Oh, am I still doing it? What's going on? What's going on? No, it's all good. It's all good. Wait, wait. Yeah. Just got the mugshot trophy for being in camera mode. Photo mode. Alright, so what do I think of the game? Callisto Protocol. Keep it simple. I'll try and answer your question in the first minute and then add more detail. So, within a minute, I played through the entire game on maximum security difficulty, and it was very tough. Would I have had more fun if it was easier? I'm not sure. So, my interpretation is that from seeing people play on normal difficulty compared to maximum security is that there needs to be an in-between between the two of them. I think that's where some of the issues are. I feel like your time to die is okay, but the enemies have so much health. So I'd like a in between where you still die quickly, but the enemies die just as have the normal amount of health and all that sort of stuff. But most of the game, you don't worry about that. So yeah, my opinion on the game is skewed because I played on the hardest difficulty and I streamed the entire playthrough. So when you're hearing me say this was a really tough game, in my experience it was. It took me 15 hours and 30 minutes to finish, which is quite slow compared to other people I talk to. So, but then I've seen other people play it and stream it consecutively and take 20 hours. So I think if you play on the easiest difficulty and you fly through it and you don't die that often, you could beat the game in 8 hours, 7 hours, probably 8 hours. So speedrunners will probably get it down to 3 hours or something ridiculous. That doesn't matter though. Is it good or not? I finished it. So that's step number one. For me, finishing a game is a big deal. I got lots of games I've started but never finished because they didn't hook me, they didn't compel me. I didn't feel satisfied winning the contests in-game. So in this, I do feel satisfied winning the combat. So when I get the perfect dodge, finish the enemies off, and in maximum security difficulty, they're so tough. They have so much health. The bosses in particular have huge amounts of health and are very challenging in certain situations if you're not equipped. So, I don't know, I feel like if I play the game again, when New Game Plus comes out, I'll probably fly through it. I think I'll fly through it. So I'll have to do New Game Plus permadeath or something ridiculous. But I'd love to do a New Game Plus and carry my weapons over and then upgrade them all to full and see what they're like. Because you don't really get to upgrade everything to full. It's not that luxurious in terms of what credits you get for your upgrades. So you go through, the story is, people say it's, they had higher expectations because they're associating with Dead Space. I didn't play the Dead Space series, so again, another part that, you go, oh, he didn't play the Dead Space series, so he doesn't understand my concerns. And I'm like, yeah, that's the truth. I didn't really like scary games. Generally don't like scary games. I had really bad trauma from Resident Evil bloody back in the day when I was really young. That was really scary. The dogs and the liquor on the ceiling, that was, oh my goodness, I had nightmares about that. I'm very vulnerable to scary things. So the first third of the game, Callisto Protocol, I think isn't as scary. It gets scarier though. And then in the second third it gets scarier. Then the last third, what scares you is something different to what scares you at the start. So it's more about the challenge scaring me because I was on the hardest difficulty and it was these long segments where I had to be perfect because I could die so easily. And that's good. I mean, that I beat it. I mean, I have a video on my channel of me beating the final boss. You can watch that if you like. And if you go on my stream, you'll see how long it took me to actually beat. How many times I died beforehand. Creative estimate. A guesstimate. I think, I don't want to watch them again, but maybe I will later. I think I died 50 times before I beat the boss. Maybe 60. maybe 30, maybe, you know, in that range, 30 to 60. My mind was a blur. Oh, don't do that to me. Oh, I took a photo. And wanted me to share it on Twitter. So yeah, what are the game's strengths and what are its weaknesses? Strengths, absolutely beautiful detail. Something that you don't appreciate unless, well, that's quite so much, unless you go into photo mode and you zoom really close. So if you zoom really close, looking back of my head. Oh, stop trying to take photos. Everything is meticulously detailed. It looks bloody beautiful. And a lot of the gore and the bodies and the positioning of things, incredible. The artistic storytelling as you progress through the areas, you know, what's happened in them, the way they look and feel, mostly how they look, and the music and things, is a massive part of the game. So this is something that you're going to hear a lot of talk about. Oh, the story's garbage, or the story's, you know, too generic, or whatever. And they're not going to talk about the world tells a story. The scene, all the sets tell a story. It's the reason why the main guy doesn't monologue as he walks through them. It's not God of War. It's not God of War Ragnarok, where the characters are constantly talking. He doesn't talk. So I think it allows, because he's not talking, allows you to look at the environment and appreciate the hard work that went into it. Incredible detail that was done. I particularly like this scene. So this is one of the scenes I liked. When you walked out, you entered this dome. I really love the look of it. And even then, it's still moving. Even in photo mode, it's not paused. But it's paused, but not paused. It's wonderful. I'll do a little spin like that. Look straight up. On his bald head. No, I'm joking. He's not bald. So, I feel like if you didn't appreciate the artistic storytelling, so the use of the world itself to tell a story, and what is the way that things have changed within Callisto and the facilities, Arcus and etc., and Black Iron Prison, then you put it all on the protagonist. And frankly, he's quite cool. So he doesn't get too flustered. He doesn't sprint very fast. The movement is quite slow. He jogs. He doesn't rush. He's not rushed. So he's in a dangerous, scary place with horrible monsters, and he will not be rushed. He will still jog. He will not sprint. Forbidden from sprinting. So there's a couple movement things that'll frustrate you. The dodging is based on your aiming left to right with your left stick, and it's situational, so it's not always just left, right dodging. You have to, you know, depending on your position with the monster, you can keep dodging right. You can keep dodging in a circle around an enemy if they're chasing after you. But you don't have a dodge roll, which, again, if you had a dodge roll, I think that would change the game a bit. Maybe you could just do away with the other dodging and just dodge roll, but then, you know, you just dodge roll all the time, so you'd have invincibility frames all the time, which is probably the big question. So it's something that the developers talked about with some of the boss fights, where the transition from aiming a gun, shooting a gun, to putting the gun down and then dodging the big attack from the big boss is kind of, there's such small margins of error, and sometimes you feel wronged, feel like you did dodge it, and other times, you know, it is you. Against normal mobs, there's situations where you hit them and they hit you at the same time. You don't interrupt them with your hit, even if your hit is slightly before theirs. So there is that kind of... I can see where the frustration is in the combat from there. But I think the variability of the combat's really good. You have multiple different weapons. You have the grip, where you can throw things. You've got melee. Melee is really good. Most of the game you're relying on melee, and in combination with a normal weapon, or you're doing the throwing. So you should mix that in too. But against the bosses, the mini bosses, the melee is entirely removed. It doesn't work at all against them. So that's kind of the thing I'd like them to change, is that they'd like the melee to have a purpose. I mean, it's the transition between the two phases, but it doesn't offer much. I just like it to do a little bit of damage, or you can, and here's more alternatives with the mini bosses. So the mini bosses, they do recycle a couple of times, one of them, and it'd be better if it had more variability. It didn't. The amount of effort that's put into the setting and the scenes could have translated to the mini boss, and they changed the way they looked. It wouldn't have to change the mechanics. They could have just changed the way they looked, and that'd be okay. But again, the mechanics are the same. But you do change as you go through. You get stronger and stronger. So some of the toughest sections may be only early on in the game because you just haven't got the equipment. So you may find it challenging. So for people who quit after 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, in that under an hour period, keep going. You get stronger. You'll be okay. If in doubt, lower the difficulty. You can change the accessibility options. You can put auto dodge on. It just means that when you do dodge, you're guaranteed to not be hit. It doesn't mean that you automatically dodge. It means you still have to push left or right on the stick and aim with the controller, or just left or right. You still have to move left or right to dodge, but it just guarantees that you will dodge. So again, there's a kind of a misunderstanding there. So it is what it is. Combos with melee is the key. Yeah. What do I think of the game, though? I think it's a great game. Okay. I didn't play Dead Space, so I'm not comparing them. I didn't worry too much about the story, to be frank. I'm not too worried about the story. It didn't annoy me, the story. It didn't offend me in any way. I could play through the game again, and it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. The story is not a bother. It's not offensive. It's not a worry. It's not something I don't love it, because again, the main character I feel could be more. It doesn't need to do it too much, just more situationally expressive. So when you go through a river of shit, oh, that smells so bad, and oh, I've smelt worse, or give us some sort of some sort of reaction. That's all. He's very, very cool. Very cool, cold, calm, and collected. It kind of, I don't know, it's you, though. So I can understand they want to leave room for the player playing to feel like they are the main character. I don't know if that works. A similar situation with Resident Evil 7 and 8, where the main guy, he does have, speaking lines and things, but lots of the time he's just cold and tough and battling on and pushing through and not complaining and just getting over it. And reattach his hand, he gets chopped off, put it back on. Oh, stop taking photos! I keep on pressing the R2 button on my controller. So yeah, I am playing on PlayStation 5, so that again is important for the context of the review, because I have had no performance issues at all. No crashes, no stuttering, nothing. And I streamed my entire playthrough. No issues at all. So I don't have any of the... And so I've, on console, had no issues, didn't play Dead Space, doesn't usually like horror games. I'm ticking all the boxes to interpret the Callisto Protocol as a great game. So if you tick all these same boxes, if you didn't play Dead Space, if you're playing it on console, and you think scary games are usually not for you, then I think Callisto Protocol is a great game, and you should give it a go. I did pre-order, and I did get the deluxe edition, because I always get that FOMO, fear of missing out on season passes, battle passes, and things, and thinking they'll be more expensive later on, thinking I'm saving money in the future. So I am looking forward to the DLC, because it's not like other DLCs. So it actually has meaning, this DLC. So the other part of it, I'm not so sure, but it does have meaning. So I'm looking forward to it. If you did play Dead Space and that, and you think, you've seen the bits about the story, and you think it looks like, you don't think it's as good, I'm like, well, they're separate games. And, the person who's been very vocal, he worked on art. He was in the art side. So the thing that transitioned across between the games is art. And the thing that Callisto Protocol's greatest strength is art, how it looks, the facial capture, the characters' faces. They look amazing. Can we get a good angle on his face? They look amazing. Much better than God of War Ragnarok, where they look like shit. Yes, I said it. They look like shit in God of War Ragnarok. You can fight me, whatever. Atreus, Freya look absolutely horrid on God of War Ragnarok. Kratos, he's always got the same face. He's fine. But yeah, is what it is. I like all the environments are different. Now, there is variability in the enemies in the environments. So tentacle monsters and things, and blind enemies and all sorts. Could there be more variation? Maybe. Maybe here and there could be a little bit more. I think... If anything, they could have totally changed the approach and have it that you make your own character. Because the lines are not very... I think you could have it, you could choose the gender of the character, of your main character, really. I don't think it would have changed the story at all. So you could have, had whatever you wanted. It'd be, and you still have your two voices, your male and your female voice, or whatever they do. But that could have changed how people perceived and, embodied the character as they played. Again, there were moments where he was funny and they were, said the right things and sort of... He does say a lot of generic lines, so, we're not going to make it when they're about to crash the plane at the start and the spaceship. He goes, we're not going to make it, and he says some really generic stuff. But I don't mind that. That's sort of cheesy horror type thing, but it's not played in that way. So this isn't a comedy. Could it have had more sort of comedic elements? I'm not sure. One of the things I do recommend is if you buy the game, don't beat it all in one sitting. Take your time. So what I did was I did a couple of 2-hour segments. I did a 4-hour and then another 3-hour. Maybe 2 4-hours and then a 3-hour at the end. But take your time. Don't rush through it. I think one of the problems with horror games in particular is if you beat the whole thing in one sitting, you don't appreciate it at all. Like, it just becomes a chore after, 4 hours, 5 hours. You just... and then you're exposed to the atmosphere. It doesn't impact you as the way it should, all the different settings. So something that watching other people play, and I've begun to appreciate the art a lot more watching someone else play and actually zoom in on how close you can zoom in and go, oh. So I enjoyed the combat. It was challenging, really, really challenging. You can watch my streams and then go, oh my goodness, you swear a lot, and you carry on while you keep carrying on, because it's bloody hard. It's a game that you need to play it yourself to really understand the combat, I think, and to understand how challenging it is and how it feels and all that. Watching someone else play it doesn't quite give the image, because there is a weight to it when you play, and your dodging has a weight to it. So it's not the Matrix dodging, but it's, you actually feel there's a logic to it that actually makes sense. Something that you could probably, apply to more horror games. There's kind of sense there. But it's kind of like the story. This is why you'll have lore videos. You'll have, I suppose this is a good thing and a bad thing, is if your game has lore videos about it, it's because it hasn't explained the lore itself. And that also means that it's so complex that it's hard to intake all the information needed to interpret it all in a way that creates a perfect understanding in the sitting while you're playing it, which again is your focus on survival. So you are distracted. And and that's a good thing, I suppose, that people can make lore videos and you can think about where it's going, how it happened, everything. I feel like the main character sort of spells it out towards the end, what's occurred, but even then, I think it's still good in terms of it has depth, but the depth of the main character, I think, is the question, which again, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I've got totally different to PC people who had stuttering and all that issues and they couldn't stream it and they had streamed in low quality and all this stuff. Those opinions mean nothing to me. I'm a console player. So yeah, They just spend all their time, PC people, dissing console, saying it's shit and all that, saying it's just a shit computer and all this stuff. Well, that's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get, is you get a goddamn game that goddamn works on the goddamn thing you goddamn bought with your goddamn money. You don't have to buy another bit, another bit, another bit, another bit, another bit. You don't have to go get some other new thing. And then you've got to get the next console, but that's many years later. Simplifies. That's what consoles do. They simplify things. So I like consoles. Keep it simple. I've had a computer, had issues with computers, broken many computers, gone through that. Played games with computers plenty of time, whatever. But consoles me main. PS5, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Now, it's not too loud, so it's not cranking the game crazily. So I think the optimization is quite good. I'll give you an example of a game with horrendously bad optimization, which was Red Dead Redemption 2, which made the console, well, the old PS4 nearly explode. And PS5's, I don't know. So we'll see. So the combat, the design of the adventure, and mixed with the combat as well, is more like The Last of Us, to be frank. You've got your open your closed areas. You've got your ways of doing combat. You've got stealth, if you can. Depends on the situation. You've got your ranged weapons. You've got your melee. You've got the thing The Last of Us doesn't have, which is the grip. So you can use the telekinetic grab and throw. Use the force. But it's that kind of, you've got variability in how you play by your decisions. You've got a bunch of different guns you can try. You can upgrade different ones. It does matter a lot in the second half of the game what upgrades you got. You really have to think about the future. And the reality is that melee is great, really helpful, but you have to upgrade your weapons. Your weapons must be upgraded for the second half of the game. Now, is that spoiling things? Maybe. I just want you to have a good experience. So if you just happen to upgrade your riot shotgun, yes, there's a shotgun. Just upgrade that to full. Or not even to full. Alt fire is not so big a deal. That's the final upgrade. You get like an alternate fire thing. That's not a big deal. Don't worry about that. It's good for mobs, not so good for bosses. But just get some damage. Extra damage on some of those guns. Extra magazines. Save some bullets. Always have a couple bullets. Your inventory goes from quite small to quite large. In the second half of the game, it's quite large. You'll be right. First half of the game, though, do be careful. Sell your heals. Sell your heals. If you're full health, there's a checkpoint, you'll be right. You'll be right. Second half of the game, there's so many checkpoints. I mean, for me, on the hardest difficulty, the heals matter and they don't matter at the same time. Because if you get hit, you really die. So when I beat an area, go through a section, if I've been hit once, that's a failure, generally. Maybe I've been hit by a little slug thing, little bits of damage, that's fine. But if I get, wailed on, I'm done. So, advice for those doing maximum security, don't get hit. Chain your combos, melee, 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 shoot, melee, melee, melee. Dodge. Yeah, don't get hit. And you'll die a lot in maximum security difficulty. You'll die a lot. You will just die a lot. It just happens. Don't worry about it. Makes you think permadeath is going to be so incredibly difficult. When someone beats the game permadeath, when that comes out, that's going to be absolutely insane. Seriously. Insane. So that's kind of the thing. The challenge is there. The challenge is real. The game is hard. Even on normal, it's hard at times. It's a hard game. Challenge is real. Art is amazing. Story's alright, and we'll get better. We'll see what happens. Because they're doing more stuff. Yes, they're doing more stuff. I think characters, everyone's believable. Main character's very cool. So maybe he's too cool. It's too calm. That's sort of the only question. Everyone else, yeah, they're fine. Anyone endearing? No one's really endearing. I don't love any of the characters. Maybe with more time, if there's, sequels or whatever, then the main guy will build. He's the one really building. Music's great, sets the atmosphere nicely. Nothing. The game. I feel like the game is. It's kind of weird that so many people are offended because I feel like it's not that offensive of a game. It's really. I mean, the gore. Some of it's funny. I find it funny, but you do get brutally murdered. You get brutally finished off. But I don't feel like there's so much about the game that is pleasant, easy to swallow. You can just go through that. It's a vanilla custard, nice and easy. Challenge here. Oh my goodness, it's only hard work, hard work, hard work. Oh, I did it. I'm awesome. I get stronger and stronger and stronger. Play through the game. Start to go, oh my goodness. Oh, jump scare. Oh my goodness. And you go, you got me again. And then you keep going forward. You're strong. It's dark. You don't have a torch. Like, you have an automatic light, but it's not like a control torch. Except when you aim your gun and you get a light. But that doesn't really worry you. It's not too dark. And it's not too light either. So I think the lighting, they've managed it quite well. This area here is only early on, so I mean it's not too far in. So I didn't want to spoil it. I was going to show a bit at the end and just look at the thing, but it's fine. I think the lore in game, the recordings, the bios. I listened to all the ones I got, and they're all added a little bit, good depth to just those characters and the situations where you found them when they were dead. So how they happened to be there, and maybe they could have been a little bit longer here and there, but some of them are a bit longer than others. Yeah, so it's not an offensive game, which again is so strange to me that people are going absolutely off the rails. Yeah, people going off the rails and freaking. Oh god, how long have I gone for? Banging in the background. Yeah, I was thinking about, Angry Joe and them, and I'm like, sometimes, man, sometimes. How they going to talk about, oh goddamn, whether their experience with the game and they think it's crap or whatever, and it's like dodgy on release, and I'm like, I don't know what planet you're on. It's a console game, damn it. PC people. PC priority, no. Console priority. Cop that. Cop it. Yeah. So would I play through it again without New Game Plus? Probably not. I'll probably wait. I'll wait for DLC. I'll wait for New Game Plus. Once New Game Plus comes out with permadeath, I'll give that a go. See if I can stream that. See if I can survive long enough. But I want to carry my guns through. I don't like the idea of starting again, being weak again, and missing all my old guns. But I think I wouldn't find it as challenging a second time. I think I'd be alright. Because there's a couple things habits that are bad that you form, and you just got to be careful. But yeah, lots of loot and things. If you check around the corner, you get more money, so you get more upgrades. So you do have to pay attention to that. Buying ammo, really important. Something to do later in the game. Maybe it's better off not upgrading a lot of guns. Just upgrade the basic parts of it, and then just buy so much ammo that you just fly through. But you do what you like. Play the game how you want. Maximum security is bloody hard, but maybe you're awesome. Maybe you don't find it as challenging as I did, and you can see on my stream how badly I struggled. Does it deserve the hate? Again, subjective. If you're on PC and a game crashes constantly, then you should most certainly complain. I'm not admonishing anyone for complaining about things that are totally unacceptable on the platform that they're on. But on PlayStation Land, where I am, we're all good. The sun is out. The flowers are in bloom. I got to play a game that I actually finished. that I had such a tough time playing because it was just so tough on the hardest difficulty, and I'm not that good. I put myself through torture. But am I happy I won? Yes, I'm happy. I was so happy at the end. I was nearly in tears. So personal challenge wise, this is what the game's strength. That's the game's strength. Can you beat Callisto Protocol on the hardest difficulty in under 6 hours? No, you can't do it. But yeah, that's the part I think I'll remember. I'll remember the tough fights. Some of my awesome skills. I did a couple of times where I was just popping off, nailing it. Once you get the skill right, once, you know, it's a game of skill. Once you get going, once you're settled and you're in the rhythm and you dance, once you can dance properly, the game looks easy. People can watch it and go, oh, that guy, that's so easy. It's such an easy game. He's just dodging everything perfectly. You missed the part where he died like 40 times beforehand. How many times he had his head chopped in half? How many times he got shish kebabbed? If you only ever say, oh, that looks easy. No, you're missing the point. It's a hard game. Unless that person's so skillful, they make it look easy. So there is a skill gap. You take your time to work your way through it. Yeah, good luck with maximum security. Yeah, I rate it out of 10. I think I'll go. I think if I didn't learn more about the art in terms of, you know, zooming in on the photo mode and how detailed everything looks. Well, the glove. Glove's a great little example. If I wasn't looking at the art. Oh, there we go. Frame that. If I wasn't looking at the art, I probably would have gone a 7 out of 10, but because I've seen the detail and seen the zoom in on the enemy monsters and the bodies and things, and some of the effort, some of the artwork is just insane. Absolutely crazy detail. I just didn't appreciate it on my first playthrough. And then when I watch someone else and they stop and they look and I go, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable work has been put into this game. It's an 8 out of 10. Weakness is probably just time. I think if they make a second, it'll build. World building takes time. World building is always a challenge. I'll say that for any new game. You always start narrow and then you broaden. So you don't want to be too broad. Again, this is kind of the challenge, isn't it? With all new games and new studio, really. But the platform is there. The art is amazing. Combat is its own unique flavor. So this is the thing. It's good to be unique. You don't have to be the same as everyone else just because everyone else thinks that that's how it should be. I appreciate that. I appreciate going, okay, let's do our own thing. I like it. Could they have embraced some other aspects more? Yeah, good. They got plenty of options. In terms of the grip being a telekinetic ability, could have done more with that. Could have more. It's not a puzzle game. It could have had more puzzle elements, I suppose. Did it need it though? Maybe. Maybe it could have used more compelling puzzles in the first place, and having them be compelling. Maybe they would have just padded the runtime. But yeah, 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the combat. People who say it's shit, well, that's their opinion. That's fine. I just don't agree with them. I had great performance, no issues. 8 out of 10. It's a great game. It's nice when you pre-order a game, or you're going to get a game and then you see bloody reviews and they go, I don't recommend it. And I'm like, dude. Okay. And then you get it yourself, you play the game and you're like, what are the people talking about? What are they talking about? And then there's so much depth in the art in the world, in that there's little details that you don't even notice, and stuff like pointed out, I'm like, I never even noticed. So I think this is a game that's got more depth than people realize, and maybe in time they'll look back and go, holy crap, there was a lot more going on here that I didn't notice. There was a lot more going on. And then they'll appreciate it more. Again, if you're comparing it to Dead Space, that's a different thing. You play Dead Space. I haven't played Dead Space. Will I play Dead Space? I don't know. It looks a bit too scary for me. This was action, survival horror, emphasis on action because there's so much action. But the world is so beautiful. You really need to stop and go in photo mode. I beg you. Stop photo mode. Look around. Zoom in. Don't rush. I feel like all horror games sort of make you feel like you're on a ticking clock, but that's just not the truth. There's no ticking clocks in this game at any point where you have to sprint to escape a falling meteorite or anything. Falling meteorite. But yeah, take your time. There's some segments I was like, oh god, scare, oh, and then the shit, oh my goodness, and oh, there was some optional zones, little zones that were just frightening. So if you played through it and you didn't go through those little things, find secret stuff, and then you're missing out. There's so much there's lots of little optional bits that are just like, oh. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you play the game. I hope you take your time. I hope you look around. I hope you don't think of it as just another generic space horror game. Because that's not fair. That's not fair at all. Alright, 8 out of 10. It's been Frosty Fire 10. I've rambled on and on and on. And I've said some mean things about other content creators. Not really. No, just it's a difference of grounding. That's all. We're on different planets. Different mediums. Technology. But yeah. I highly recommend the game. And if you don't want to get it now and you're worried and you're on PC, then just wait. Games only get cheaper with time. And no one's going to bother spoiling the ending for the Callisto Protocol. I can tell you that. They're not going to bother doing that. You know, they don't have much respect. At that point, they're not going to bother with that. And it doesn't matter anyway. Your experience is your own. You discover it on your own. Your challenge is your own. I did beat it maximum difficulty. You can do that too, or you can not do that. I would recommend the custom difficulty when that comes out, and then having a balance between you have less health, but the enemies don't have so much health that it makes you upset at times. But yeah. Watch my stream playthrough if you want to just see the whole game and you don't want to play it yourself. Because if you want to play it yourself, just play it. Save up your money. Wait till it's on sale. That could just be what the plan is. All these people review bombing the game because they want it to go on sale, because they want everyone to play it. Could be a clever plan. Or they just want to sell hate or whatever. Who cares? Great game. Callisto Protocol is a great game. I'll just keep saying it. Keep saying it till you never forget. Callisto Protocol is a great game. Callisto Protocol is a great game. The Callisto Protocol is a great game. The Callisto Protocol is a great game. The Callisto Protocol is a great game. Yeah. I highly recommend it. I'm going to put that in the goddamn title, aren't I? The Callisto Protocol. I highly recommend it. Great game. Stick it right up them. Stick it up to haters. Appreciate the art. Alright. It's been Frosty by 10. I'll catch you next time. Oh, I'll be doing some stuff later. If you check my channel, there'll be many a thing happening. So, bye-bye. Like and subscribe. Dislike if you're a PC Andy. If you know. No, you don't have to dislike. You just leave a comment. Say how much PC is better than console. Yeah. And then I'll say, how optimized was Elden Ring for PC? Oh, wait. It's great on console. Okay. I've carried on way too long. All right. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.